we also have now the Printz Shed Northern Barossa Shiraz from 2018. Ben, you were talking about the difference between the north and the south. What does the northern bring? What does Northern Barossa bring?
I find that that it really pushes towards the darker fruits. So it's definitely got the plum, the dark cherry, the blackberry, all those sort of flavors. But I find, for me, the real difference is on the palate with the tannin profile. It's really sweet tannin. It's round, it's full, it's juicy. It's fun, I guess, is one of the things about the Northern Barossa for me. Maybe missing some of the more complex and spicy notes that you see, pepper notes that you see down south, but it still can make some stunning wines. And yeah, really nice to drink now.
People are going to love this, don't you think, Jenny?
Oh, yes. Yes. Again, if we put in a wine show, I think this could be another wine that divides a panel, which you may care to talk about later on, Ben. But I think the fruit is big, let's face it. Doesn't get much bigger than Northern Barossa Shiraz. So you've got really massive, sumptuous kind of layers of chocolate and blackberry and licorice. And then comes the cedar, and then comes the oak. And I think it's in keeping with the style because there is so much meaty savouriness to that wine and an enduring spice and sweet fruit. But the one thing I would have had some concern about is the oak. But again, when you have that much fruit, you have to do something, don't you, in the way of keeping the oak up to it as a supporting role. So how do you do that, Ben? Because it's always there in that wine.
Yeah, we've gone for a combination of both French and a reasonable dash of American oak in this, and there's quite a lot of new oak in it as well. I think, again, for all these wines, they come down to barrel selection, at blending and looking at what works and what doesn't, and making a blend on the bench with every barrel in a measuring cylinder and tasting it, just adding a bit more new oak here or there, or taking some out. And we just found with that fruit, it just needed the oak and wanted the oak, and it really soaked it up, and it just gave us, I agree with you with your comment. Some people will look at that in the lineup in a wine show and go, they might say too much oak, but I think your average person drinking that at a restaurant or with dinner will probably say, that really stands up against whatever food I'm having right now. And I think a lot of us really like a bit of oak, and it's there.
And importantly, Ben, that's who you're making wines for. You're not making wines for wine show judges.
Exactly.
Tony?
I found this, I'm interested hearing about Jenny's interpretation of this wine, and because you expect big, muscly black fruits out of the Northern Barossa. We all do that, and I understand that completely. And yes, the oak is here as well. My tasting of this surprised me, because I found that there was quite a surprising freshness for all that muscle that you might expect. I noted much more red crimson-y side of fruits than I expected. Yes, you get that spectrum between red, crimson and black, but I was quite surprised at the freshness of the fruit. Given everything else that was going on, there was still a freshness in the fruit and a vitality in the fruit. And I felt it was just a little bit toned. It was just really nicely toned Northern Barossa than just going for heavyweight. And I found that to be quite an interesting take on, maybe, as you say, trying to find a slightly more modern style out of some of these traditional areas. But that was my impression of that wine. And I kind of found it really lovely to drink, because I quite often, those big Northern Barossa, Shiraz, they're knife and fork stuff. You need to really kind of plough your way through it. And yes, it's chewy, and I noted the tannins were a sticky tannin rather than a big heavy tannin. I liked it. I liked it a lot, for all those reasons.
Shanteh, this would be a pretty easy sell, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I don't want to keep harping on. Yes, there's oak there. Yes, it's big and bold. Again, I didn't think that the fruit was overripe. I thought the fruit was nicely ripe, but for me, it was all about the tannins on that wine, and it's what kept making me come back and have another look at it. They were so, I put them as, rather than sticky, as lithe and dusty, and just so well worked into it. The really lovely kind of fruit and skin tannins in there, and for me, that was a really, really redeeming feature, despite the fact there was so much oak. It made me want to go back because of those interesting and well-worked tannins.
And what kind of dish would you put with this?
Oh, God, I was thinking, you want some meat, don't you? You want something a bit bloody, in my opinion. I want something medium rare, maybe some black garlic, some big, bold flavours, yeah.